Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is the second video regarding the djed pillar. Or did the djed pillar have anything to do with building the pyramid? Now, if you're new to the channel, go back to the first video. I'll leave a link in the description. I finished the last video saying that there was two problems and only discussing one, which was this false door needed a large stone surrounding it. So it could pull stones towards itself. The other problem is actually the sled and the block that lands on the pyramid at the end. With there being a djed on each corner and 2 ramps feed each djed, that would make a total of 8 ramps. So say every 15 minutes you would have 8 blocks arriving on the pyramid plateau. Consequently, you would need 8 sleds and 8 men to get off the pyramid so they could get the sled and themselves back to the quarry. So within an hour, 8, 16, 32, you'd have 32 men an hour trying to get back to the quarry. You've got a sled and a man. In fact, you've got 32 of them, and they're not allowed, or they can't go down the exterior ramps. They're too busy. So how do you get them off? What you do, you slide them down the ascending passage. The ascending passage in the Grand Gallery and the King's Chamber were all there to facilitate lowering men off the pyramid. Because the pyramid, the exterior of the pyramid was too busy with stones coming up it, your men in the sled to go back to the quarry went down the ascending passage. Okay, this is a scaled down model of the Grand Gallery, the ascending passage, which is there, the Grand Gallery, which is here. These holes in the sticks represent as 27 holes up the Grand Gallery, either side of this trunk or sliding part that goes in the middle. All these men, they bring the stone sled, and they accompany the block or the stone onto the pyramid. So they've got to get off the pyramid with the sled now. So the rope, the end of the rope goes over the great step. Then it goes through like these portcullis blocking stones. To me, it's actually a break. Then it goes into the King's Chamber, around a big spool at the bottom, and the rope is then gathered into this rope box, or King's Coffer they call it now. Now it's slightly on edge, it's slightly askew, the coffer. That's because the rope's constantly going in and out, is drawing it towards the large spool. But I've worked it out, or I've calculated it with some AI, that the box is big enough to accommodate 120 meters of 2-inch rope. So when the men get on the pyramid with the block, they need to fast way to get back off again and get back down to the quarry. So they would gather in the Grand Gallery with the sled and the rope that they bound the block to the sled, and then each one of them would then position themselves in the groove in the centre of the Grand Gallery, and put a stick either side of the slot to hold themselves in position. Then when they were ready, they would take each stick out. 1, 2, 3. You can see the rope is starting to get tense here now, and where it's slacking between all these other sticks. Once all the sticks are taken out, this brake is taken off, and the men can slide down and out of the pyramid. As they're sliding down the pyramid, the big spool on the bottom rotates to small spools on the top, and that winds rope onto the spools, and the rope comes through the air shafts. So when they've exited and they will have rewound them spools so they're fully wound then. So the problem is then they want to get the rope back up the shelf to get the next lot of men off the pyramid. So that's when you'd pull these ropes on the exterior of the pyramid, and that would rotate the small spools. I think you'd have 5 rotations of the small spool, and 5 rotations would pull the whole of the length of the rope back up the ascending passage, ready for the next lot of workers to disembark. So that's the purpose of the King's Chamber. It's a winching room to lower men off the pyramid. Think of it as an upside down coal mine. In a coal mine, you lower the men with their tools to the coal face. Well, the opposite applies here. The men have got to the coal face because they brought the block up to where it's required. So they then need to get out of the mine as quick as they can, so they can get the sled back to the quarry, ready for its next trip. Okay, so I'm going to remove all the sticks now, and you can see the tension taken up in the rope. Put the brake on. It's winding the rope up, and then you pull these ropes, to bring the rope back up the ascending passage.